정정정해 불야 이도 군산 정어 불야 정정정해 불야 이도 군산 정해 불야 이하고니 마라 딸을 밭에 장구 친다 불야 불야 덕서 불야 기계다 덕서 불야 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 단양천은가 스물단양천에 어디 소
Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon from Jeju Island, good morning and good evening, depending on where you're located and joining us from around the world. And welcome to the Digital 9th International Conference on UNESCO's Global Geoparks, the opening ceremony. Once again, I greet you. My name is Ju-Yeon Cho, and I have been given the honor of being your MC for today. Thank you very much. Welcome once again, and welcome to the beautiful island of Jeju in South Korea. The 9th International Conference on UNESCO Global Geoparks was slated to be held in September of 2020. However, due to the COVID-19 pandemic, it was postponed multiple times and ultimately was transitioned into an online digital version. With the physical presence of a few limited distinguished guests here off-site. As we started off on the opening ceremony, you saw the performances of first the Hado Haenyeo Choir, composed of Jeju Haenyeo representing the specific and cultural heritage of Jeju. Following suit were the beautiful voices of the children of the KBS Children's Choir representing the future of Jeju. For those of you who are joining us online, it is truly unfortunate that you were not able to witness the performances in person, but nevertheless, I hope that you enjoyed them over the digital sphere. So without further ado, let us begin the opening ceremony. First and foremost, we would like to invite to the stage the welcome remarks of Mr. Gu Man-seop, the acting governor of Jeju Special Self-Governing Province and the committee chair of the Digital 9th International Conference on UNESCO Global Geoparks. So ladies and gentlemen, please welcome him with a big round of applause.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is my great pleasure to participate in the Digital 9th International Conference on UNESCO Global Geoparks, taking place on Jeju Island, the world's environmental treasure island. My name is Man-seop Gu, acting governor of Jeju Special Self-Governing Province and the chairperson of the organizing committee for the 9th International Conference on UNESCO Global Geoparks. My sincere appreciation goes to Ms. Samila Nair Beduela, Assistant Director General for Natural Sciences of UNESCO, Mr. Nicolas Joros, President of Global Geoparks Network, Ms. Jung-Ae Han, Minister of the Environment of the Republic of Korea. Thank you all for your invaluable contribution to this meaningful conference. I would also like to thank Mr. Nam-Soo Cha, Chairperson of Jeju Special Self-Governing Provincial Council, and other eminent guests for their participation and continued interest, and other members of the organizing committee for the work and the support they have provided. Due to the COVID-19 pandemic, the International Conference on UNESCO Global Geoparks is taking place for the first time in 3 years and 3 months. This is a moment that Jeju residents have been eagerly anticipating. The organizing committee was established immediately to undertake tasks for preparing and hosting the event, following confirmation that, however, due to the sudden and impactful outbreak of COVID-19, the conference scheduled to take place in 2020 was postponed. And we are here today hosting the first virtual conference as a result. I believe that the long time spent waiting to hold the conference makes the event even more meaningful and worthwhile. While gathering wisdom for sustainable geoparks, I hope that today's conference will serve as an opportunity to share their aesthetic and the scientific significance, as well as historical and cultural value. Jeju Island is an internationally protected area in its entirety as designated by UNESCO. Starting with its designation as a UNESCO Biosphere Reserve in 2002, Jeju Island was inscribed on the World Heritage List in 2007 and certified as a UNESCO Global Geoparks in 2010. It is also home to 5 Ramsar sites. The ecosystem on Jeju Island is an invaluable asset for the entire world. Jeju Island has placed a great deal of effort to better transition to a sustainable future based on its clean natural environment. To proactively respond to the climate crisis that threatens humanity and the ecosystem, Jeju Island has been implementing various measures, including Carbon-Free Island 2030, with its aim of realizing carbon neutrality. Environmental conservation is our responsibility as it impacts the livelihoods of future generations and plays a key role in sustainable development for our planet. With Jeju Island's endeavors to achieve green growth while safeguarding its clean nature, we will strive to set the right course towards environmental conservation and serve as a role model for the rest of the world. Today's conference consists of 7 sessions featuring presentations by 279 speakers from 44 countries across the globe. This is the biggest conference of its kind. It also covers a wide range of topics, including geoparks and sustainable tourism, international collaborations, climate change, and geohazard, and popularizing scientific knowledge. Let me express my gratitude to all the presenters for their invaluable insights. I hope today's conference lays the foundation for understanding the infinite value of environmental resources and strengthening solidarity and cooperation to solve global issues. Although we truly wished to meet in person on Jeju Island, the digital conference enables us to meet online in a way that promotes interaction. Now is the time for us to come together to address the issues faced by humanity and the world by sharing our knowledge, insight, and the best practice. I sincerely hope that we can all return to the pre-COVID normality in the near future so that we can invite you all to the Treasure Island, Jeju. I wish you all the best of luck and good health. Thank you.
Thank you once again, Acting Governor Koo Man-sup. And as he has mentioned, good things do come to those who wait and are patient. I believe that because of the postponement, our international conference will be more meaningful and worthwhile. And now let us invite some speakers from overseas on behalf of those registered countries for the Global Geoparks Network. We have 52 countries that have registered. And on behalf of them, we would first of all like to invite Assistant Director General Ms. Shamil Nair Bedouel for Natural Sciences Division at UNESCO for her welcome remarks. Ladies and gentlemen, she has sent her remarks through a video, so please turn your attention to the screen.
Dear Mrs. Jung Hae Han, Minister of the Environment of the Republic of Korea, dear Mr. Man Seop-koo, Acting Governor of Jeju's Special Self-Governing Province and Chairperson of the Organizing Committee of the 9th International Conference on UNESCO Global Geoparks, dear Mr. Nicolas Zouros, President of the Global Geoparks Network, dear Excellencies, dear friends of the UNESCO Global Geoparks community, dear participants. On behalf of the Director General of UNESCO, Madame Audrey Azoulay, it is my honor and pleasure to address you at this opening ceremony of the 9th International UNESCO Global Geoparks Conference. Let me first extend my warmest sympathy for the colleagues of Jeju Island, UNESCO Global Geopark, for hosting this important event. Let me also express my appreciation for their flexibility, their creativity in organizing this event in such uncertain times. I know we had hoped to organize this as a physical meeting, and it would have been great to meet each other after such a long time of social distancing and protective measures. Unfortunately, considering the evolution of this global pandemic, we were obliged to convert it to a digital conference, and this was the wisest decision. We give it our full support, and we look forward to meeting you in Presencia in the future. As before, when acting on climate change, natural hazards, or decreasing perspectives for the rural world, the UNESCO Global Geoparks community has shown a great resilience during this pandemic. Right from the beginning of this crisis, we saw geoparks reorganizing themselves, helping local communities with all kinds of health services, shortening the chain between food consumers and consumers, connecting with school children stuck at home, and providing online campaigns and networking events to remain connected. And that is exactly the strength of UNESCO Global Geoparks. Although they require governmental support, they actually remain grassroots-driven projects, and that is our view, the key to their success today. In that sense, I am pleased that this international conference is providing, for the first time ever, a space for the first UNESCO Global Geoparks Youth Forum. And I'm happy to see that nearly all countries which have UNESCO Global Geoparks have delegated a representative. It is now more than ever that we give young generations not only a voice, but a helping hand to facilitate the engagement in geoparks management. Their drive to implement new ideas and their ability to reach wider audiences with the use of digital tools is something we cannot afford to lose and to waste. On behalf of UNESCO, I wish to thank the Global Geoparks Network for integrating this youth forum and giving them an advisory role in the daily management of GGN and the UNESCO Global Geoparks. The General Conference of UNESCO just adopted a medium-term strategy for the period 2022-2029. During this period, UNESCO designated sites will probably play a more important role than ever before. UNESCO recognizes the important role that such sites as the Natural World Heritage Sites, the Biosphere Reserves, and the UNESCO Global Geoparks play in protecting our common natural, cultural, and geological heritage. A protection that goes hand in hand with sustainable development. We see how these sites engage in climate action, in ecosystem protection and preservation, ecosystem restoration, in engaging with schools, visitors, with local communities, with the partners, hotels, restaurants, and tourism operators. These sites demonstrate daily that the Sustainable Development Goals are not just a collection of numbers and indicators, but concrete and achievable targets if we work together. Excellencies, dear participants, at a time when the global commitment towards climate change action seems to stall, at a time when negotiations on biodiversity protection are taking place in complicated circumstances and diverging interests, it is more important than ever that places like UNESCO Global Geoparks show that they can make a difference and inspire the world to engage in concrete action. UNESCO is strongly committed to support this momentum and ready to collaborate in setting up joint projects in and with UNESCO sites, with our network of international and intergovernmental science programs, with our UNESCO chairs and centers, our networks of associated schools, and last but not least, with our network of field officers spread around the world. Beyond the expansion of the site's network and enlarging the total surface of protected territories, I believe that the future of our cooperation lies in the effective implementation of the Sustainable Development Goals through climate change action and protection of bio and geodiversity at the forefront. I am certain that the exchanges we will hear in the coming days will be inspiring and will provide a basis to extend and increase the excellent cooperation between UNESCO, GGN, and the entire network of UNESCO Global Geoparks. Let me end by wishing you all fruitful exchanges and thank the organizers once again for the great work in converting this into the first online international conference on UNESCO Global Geoparks. Let me once again extend our sincere appreciation to the government of the Republic of Korea, to the Minister of the Environment, to the Governor of Jeju Special Governing Province. My sincere appreciation to all of you for hosting the 9th International Conference on UNESCO Global Geoparks. I also thank Dr. Nicolas Zouros and all the participants joining us here today. I also would like to thank my colleagues, Christoph van den Berg and Özlem, who are really at the forefront of driving the Geoparks program. And I also thank Marilo Faber and all the other staff who have assisted in bringing us here together in a successful meeting. I wish you good deliberations and look forward to welcome you home in the future, your home, UNESCO. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Assistant Director General Beduele, for your heartfelt comments and your support throughout the years. And now, ladies and gentlemen, we will invite President Nicolas Zouros of the Global Geoparks Network through Zoom. I believe that he is already online, ready to say hello to us. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome him on the screen.
It's a great honor and pleasure in the name of the Global Geoparks Network to greet all of you, to greet especially the colleagues in Jeju Island in the Republic of Korea for their great effort to make a reality this 9th International Conference on UNESCO Global Geoparks. Permit me to thank specially the Minister of Environment of the Republic of Korea, the government of Jeju Island, all the colleagues of the Global UNESCO Global Geopark in Jeju, and especially the members of the organizing committee of this conference for their great effort to make possible to meet, even digitally, in this 9th International Conference on UNESCO Global Geoparks. COVID-19 pandemic unfortunately changed the life of the people all around the globe, and at the same time changed also the life in geoparks, in our rural communities all around the globe, changed the way of operation of this global network. But, as has been already said, the Global Geoparks Network, the UNESCO Global Geoparks, proved that they are a resilience network, a network of cooperation that has the potential to overpass difficulties, to overpass any limitation, and act as a global forum of cooperation and support for its members, and especially for our rural communities. And thus, we are finally at Jeju Island, even digitally. One of the most beautiful geoparks in the world. I had the pleasure to visit Jeju several times, and I know how much all the colleagues from all around the globe are losing by not being present in this beautiful island. The Global Geoparks Network proved during this difficult period that have the potential to change its own way of operation and become a digital and find new tools, become a digital network, keeping all this period of pandemic very high, the exchange among its members, the encouragement to its members for the support of the local people and the local communities to overpass the difficulties. We all know that the world is facing great challenges. One of them is the climate crisis. Another one connected with the climate crisis is without any doubt the crisis management of the big disasters that we face every day. So geoparks have one of their most important duties to teach all of us how this planet works and how we can reduce the consequences of the natural disasters and how we can live in better conditions using our geological heritage, our natural environment, not as a limitation, but as a tool for sustainable local development. And this is a great reality. But for this, networking was the tool. The tool that is used by the Global Geoparks Network to work both at the global level, but mainly at the regional and national level, through our regional networks, through our national fora and networks of geoparks. During these 2 years, we organized activities. We tried to keep the flame alive all around the globe, and thus geoparks became one of the most active networks around the globe. Permit me to say and to express my great appreciation for all those who made possible the organization of this digital conference. I have to tell you that this digital conference, for the first time, gave the opportunity to the Global Geoparks Network to launch new initiatives, always in collaboration with UNESCO. And in this point, I would like to thank UNESCO and especially all the team of Earth Sciences and Risk Reduction. It is the collaboration between UNESCO and the global network that make possible all these achievements. I have to tell you that during the last months, we have the opportunity to be in contact with hundreds of thousands of scientists in earth sciences, people working on geotourism, people interested in protected areas, to advertise this 9th International Conference, to advertise Jeju Island UNESCO Global Geopark in all countries, to encourage them to participate in this conference, which became a great, great success. Not, of course, only due to the efforts from UNESCO and GGN, but mainly through the efforts of the organizing committee. And I would like once again to express the appreciation of all the Geopark community for the great efforts made for this conference. With these words and with these thanks, let me once again to greet our colleagues from 52 different countries participating in this conference. Let me wish every success to the conference, every success to each one of the UNESCO Global Geoparks, every success to the aspiring geoparks wishing to join our global network. Your success is our success, and especially for our local communities, because geoparks are not just about rocks. They are mainly about the people. Thank you so much for your attention, and every success to Jeju Island UNESCO Global Geopark. Every success to the International Geoparks Conference.
Thank you very much, President Soros, for your leadership, your insightful comments, as well as your support for the 9th International Conference on UNESCO Global Geoparks. And now, ladies and gentlemen, I believe that we were able to truly bring together, although a digital version of the 9th International Conference, thanks to the support of all of those around the world. And next, Minister Han Jung-ae of Environment of the Republic of Korea has also sent her congratulatory and welcome remarks through a video. Please welcome her on screen.
안녕하십니까? 대한민국 환경부.
Hello, this is the Minister of Environment of Republic of Korea, Han Young-ae. Congratulations on opening the 9th International Conference on UNESCO Global Geoparks. I also welcome the 44 member states and all those relevant to UNESCO Global Geoparks and all the participants. After postponing 3 times because of the pandemic, we are finally holding the conference online. It is regretful that you cannot see the geological value in Jeju, which is designated as a global geopark. And it's a shame that you cannot see it yourself. This conference has achieved a lot of previous achievements, regional and international cooperation, promoting public awareness of R&D, sustainable tourism, and regional development and geological disasters from climate change. Amid the impacts of sea level rise to geoparks, including Jeju, it is high time for us to seek protective measures for geoparks around the world and models for sustainable use and development of geoparks. The Korean government successfully listed Jeju as a UNESCO Global Geopark, and following this in 2017, 18, and 2020, Cheongseong, Mudungsan, and Hantangang were designated also. We'll continuously support the expansion of the value of geoparks globally with UNESCO and GNN. And I hope this 3-day conference will serve as an opportunity to record our footprints towards the sustainable future of geoparks based on solidarity of GGN and UNESCO. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Minister Han, for your encouraging comments. And as she mentioned, it is truly unfortunate that we were not able to host in person all of the distinguished guests to Jeju Island. I believe that we will have to have another occasion where you visit Jeju. And next, we will listen to the congratulatory address by Chairperson Cha Nam-soo of the Jeju Special Self-Governing Provincial Council. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome him with a big round of applause.
감사합니다.
Thank you very much. Honorable representatives of UNESCO and online participants, distinguished guests from home and abroad. Congratulations on the opening of the 9th International Conference on UNESCO Global Geoparks. The International Conference on UNESCO Global Geoparks is being hosted in Jeju Island for the first time in Korea, and it's a very significant and meaningful milestone for the island of Jeju. I would like to also thank the acting governor of Special Self-Governing Province, Jeju Island, Acting Governor Kuman-seop, for successfully hosting this international conference. Jeju Island is a treasure island of Korea, and it has been designated as the global geoparks, as the first geopark in Korea, and it has been designated for consecutive 3 times. Volcanic eruption has created Jeju Island, and Jeju Island has a lot of wonderful landscape created by volcanic eruption, Halla Mountain, and various caves formed by lava, including Manjang Cave, are testament to the geological value of Jeju Island. On top of the volcanic eruption, the mankind and the natural environment are coexisting in a harmonious manner on Jeju Island. In this beautiful island where people meet people and people meet natural environment, I hope you can all have a very memorable and pleasant experience on Jeju Island. And geoparks are very important for ecological development and local economy as well. Congratulations once again on the 9th International Conference on UNESCO Global Geoparks. I'm sure it will pave the way for more harmonious and pleasant coexistence between the mankind and the nature. I hope you enjoy your time on Jeju Island. Thank you very much.
Thank you once again, Chairperson Cha Nam-soo, for your great remarks as well as your support and for the participants joining us all around the world. Well, there are some time differences, but once again, as you have seen on the screen as well, there's a lot of our participants joining us online. So thank you once again. It is indeed the first time that the International Conference on UNESCO Global Geoparks is being held virtually in this manner. Unfortunately, we were not able to join each other in person. However, I believe that it was able to be held as the 9th Digital International Conference, thanks to a lot of infrastructure and technologies. And next, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to introduce the commentators working as children commentators for the Jeju World Natural Heritage. First, 5th grader Moon Chae-won of Pyoseon Elementary School and 4th grader Kang Si-hyun of Puseol Elementary School. So they will be explaining the Digital 9th International Conference on UNESCO Global Geoparks. Please welcome them with a big round of applause.
안녕하세요.
Good afternoon. We are student commentators for World Natural Heritage of Jeju Island. I'm Moon Chae-won and I'm Kang Si-hyun. It's regretful that we cannot meet you in person for the 9th International Conference UNESCO Global Geoparks, but it's still a great pleasure to meet all of you. And for the past 2-3 years, we have worked very hard to host you and welcome you on Jeju Island. Our Jeju Island is full of geological value and beauty. And to share as much as we can of the beauty and value of Jeju Island, we have created 3-dimensional virtual space for the conference. In the virtual 3D space, the 9th International Conference of UNESCO Global Geoparks, I welcome you all to this.
Well, I hope that you enjoyed that very brief virtual tour or the virtual PR center introduced by our two very cute but smart children commentators. The center will be open for 1 month after the international conference is over. So, ladies and gentlemen, please feel free to enjoy a virtual tour of Jeju and its surrounding environment and what it has to offer. And now, moving on swiftly, please welcome our keynote speaker. The keynote speaker will be Mr. Christoph Vandenberge, the Chief of UNESCO's Section for Earth Sciences and Geohazard Risk Reduction, and Secretary of the International Geoscience and Geoparks Program. I believe that he will be signing on online through Zoom. So, Mr. Christoph Vandenberge, can you hear me very well, and can you please start your presentation?
So I was just explaining that the monitoring, the revalidation process has been hampered, but despite of this, we've been able to organize a number of these missions in Europe, and now as well actually still ongoing in Latin America. We've done enough missions in order to bring 80 new applicants and 29 revalidations to the UNESCO Global Geoparks Council, which gathered as a part of this conference actually in the previous days. And if the executive board, which will gather in April next year, if they follow the decision of the council, then we will soon have 8 new UNESCO Global Geoparks, including in Luxembourg and Sweden, 2 countries that up till now had no UNESCO Global Geoparks. I wish to thank here all council members, and Guy Martini in particular, for processing such a great deal of files and reports in such a short time, and for their endurance to be with us for 4 days straight. I should like to thank here in particular the different experts that conducted these missions. I know that we've been asking a lot from them. They've been conducting these missions so very often in very complicated circumstances, with very little advance notice and with a very little limited time to draft the reports. And I can tell you that some of them actually conducted these missions against the advice of their doctor. Others did 4 or even 5 missions in the past weeks, and I think that's just a record, and it shows again the great commitment, because I don't have to remind you that they do this on a voluntary basis. It shows once again what a great family UNESCO Global Geoparks are. For the International Disaster Risk Reduction Day, UNESCO has set up a campaign based on different practices from UNESCO Global Geoparks, and we received numbers of examples, pictures, videos, educational material, and a lot of great stories from different geoparks around the world. And we used them for a social media campaign. We've set up a dedicated website. And I think we just have to look at the current news, but the recent tornadoes that blew away a part of the Midwest of the United States, and my sympathy here goes to the victims of this terrible disaster. It shows just once again how hard and how unexpected nature can strike. And I think that's just one example of the many that we can look back at of past year. We can think of the wildfires as well that struck us here in Europe, or the floods, the different volcano outbursts this year. And our geoparks are often based in areas that are prone to this kind of hazards. They're based at the foot of volcanoes, or in areas of a large seismic activity. And their communities have learned to deal and to live with this hazard and to prepare for them. And I think that there's a lot that can be learned from that collective knowledge. And I think as climate change will exacerbate some of these hazards, we better prepare for them. And that is why UNESCO set up a similar campaign together, and this time with the UK National Commission during the COP26, the Climate Change Summit in Glasgow. These campaigns show to what extent geoparks are already committed to climate change mitigation, to climate change adaptation activities. And some of these sites aim at mitigation measures. And I just heard the Jeju governor explain as well how the island is actually already converting its energy policy, for example. We see similar examples on El Hierro. We see other sites experimenting with geothermal energy, like for example in Iceland. Others are setting up dedicated education campaigns, very often based on findings from their own records captured in their own rock formations, in the hope that future generations will change their behavior towards a lower carbon footprint. Other geoparks have invested more in adaptation measures by strengthening, for example, their coastlines, by restoring their dune systems, and I think these are all very inspiring examples. And I think it is true that sometimes we stay a bit paralyzed, we stay a bit in awe for the enormous complexity of these global challenges. And in those moments, the different activities and the collective commitment of UNESCO Global Geoparks is in a way not only assuring, but it's also inspiring, and it pushes ourselves, all of us, to make the best of that most precious of our natural resources. I think it's human ingenuity and our capacity our power to adapt. I think we owe it to ourselves, and above all, we owe it to the future generations. We have a collective responsibility to turn the tide while we still can, to leave these young people a world where they can still deploy themselves in a bearable climate and in an ecosystem that not only supports their life standards, but that keeps on offering them the same beauty and marvel that we have been able to witness. And I'm therefore incredibly pleased that this conference, and I would like to thank here the Jeju colleagues, that this conference will also host the first ever UNESCO Global Geoparks Youth Forum later today. With this forum, UNESCO and GGN wanted to help young people in our sites to connect with the site management so that we can profit from their drive and from their great ideas. And we want to give them a voice in the overall strategy of UNESCO and of GGN, and listen to them when we set out new lines, when we design our new strategies or actions and activities. And from the past weeks that we've been able to work with them already, that we've been able to exchange with them, I've seen a great commitment. They're very smart people, they're bright people, they're very good in outreach and in communication, they're technically very savvy, and they're full of hope and energy. And I know now already that I will learn at least as much from them as hopefully they will learn from us as well in the coming years, and I'm really looking forward to this cooperation. As the ADG hinted at, UNESCO just comes out of a very important process. The 193 member states of this organization just gathered in what we call the General Conference, and they came out with this medium-term strategy. It's a strategy for 2022, 2029. So it's basically looking almost at a decade, what UNESCO will do, how we will do this, and in particular, how much money we will get for that. And I'm absolutely pleased to see that there was a great deal of support towards UNESCO designated sites. There's a great interest as well in the expansion of UNESCO Global Geoparks. They've recognized absolutely the power of these sites in attaining the goals that we have set ourselves in our global agendas. And I think we have a number of tools here at UNESCO in order to throw in this battle. We have a number of science programs, intergovernmental or international science programs on hydrology, for example, on ocean management. We also have maybe the more familiar Man in the Biosphere program that works through the biosphere reserves, in particular looking at biodiversity conservation, at ecosystem restoration. And then closer at my home, we have the International Geoscience and Geoparks program. And that, for those who are less familiar with it, that's a program that was established in 1972 already. And indeed, in next year, we will celebrate 50th anniversary of the program. And that's half a century that we have been working together with our statutory partner, the International Union for Geological Sciences, and later, since 2015, with the Global Geoparks Network. And I absolutely would like to thank them for this very solid cooperation, this joint venture, because it allows us indeed to be in touch at all times with a very wide network, a global network of earth scientists in different disciplines. You may have noticed that the projects that we are supporting at UNESCO lately, and in particular under the IGCP, are connecting more than ever with UNESCO Global Geoparks. The intention of the IGCP, it's still to foster international cooperation. It's still to train, in particular, young earth scientists at the beginning of their career. We're looking very much at the cooperation with Africa and with the developing world. We're trying to stimulate the inclusion of women and to promote women in earth sciences. But we have been as well trying to connect much more this traditional pillar of earth sciences, the research, with the Global Geoparks that joined the program in 2015. And one of the projects that comes to mind is, for example, GeoFood. And GeoFood is a program that originated from the UNESCO Global Geoparks, but we're supporting it as well now from the Geoscience pillar. Another project that we're supporting under the IGCP, for example, is looking more at the definition of geosites. It's looking at the assessment of the international value of geological heritage. And I think this is also very exciting. Under the program, we're also looking much more at geoliteracy, basically at a better understanding of the public at large of earth science related practices, like, for example, the exploration of geothermal plants, like, for example, gas extraction sites, or the exploration for lithium and other rare minerals. Because no matter how we look at the energy transition and in every climate change strategy, we know that we will need more mining, and we know that we will need to extract natural resources. And I hope we can conduct this in a sustainable manner, but as well in a well-informed and in a collectively accepted manner, and that decisions are taken based on good information with the involvement and with the understanding of local communities. And there I see a great role as well for UNESCO Global Geoparks, because UNESCO Global Geoparks not only have a very good affinity with these earth science mechanisms, but are also very close to the community, to their local populations. And I really believe that these UNESCO Global Geoparks can help us in explaining that this is a model between protection and between sustainable development. It's a model that can work. And for that reason, we absolutely welcome another decision that the General Conference took this year, and it's to declare every 6th of October an International Geodiversity Day. International Geodiversity Day will be celebrated every year from now onwards, and we count on the UNESCO Global Geoparks to celebrate this event together with us, because it will shine a light on so many items that are related to what is close to our heart. One of the recent initiatives that I wish to mention here is the Earth Network program. And some of you may have heard it, because we thank here GGN as well for having spread the word. But this Earth Network program is something that UNESCO initiated the last months. It's a network of environmental experts that are ready to support UNESCO designated sites. So it's particularly focusing on geoparks and biosphere reserves and on World Heritage sites. It is a multi-donor trust fund. It's basically an initiative that Italy has supported, and they brought in nearly $4 million in the first instance, and that's only for the next 3 years, but it has a funding target of $20 million. So it's really a mechanism that will be able to support geoparks. And we are currently setting up a network, a roster of experts. And in that roster, we already have a lot of geopark experts, but this is a standing invitation. If you're interested in joining this, please have a look at it, because it could be a game changer for the next coming years, in order to help sites with ecosystem restoration, with land restoration, but also with other events, like, for example, with community involvement, or how to brand ourselves better, for example. And I'm very happy to announce here as well that Dr. Ibrahim Kumu from Langkawi from Malaysia accepted to be a member of the scientific board that supports it from the scientific angle. As I said, we do this in full cooperation with GGN, and to make sure here that we're doing this, and I wish to underline here that we're doing this in full complementarity with GGN, and I cannot thank them enough for the overall support to the program, and I wish to extend here my thanks as well to Nicolas Zauros for accompanying him with his advice and with the overall support of GGN. They are also our main partner, and I think one of the most remarkable initiatives that we have set up last year, and that's an initiative in order to expand the network, and something that we've mentioned earlier, but there are some blind spots in Africa, in the Arab states, in the small island developing states, blind spots on the map of the Geoparks network, and I think that's a thorn in the eye of many, and I'm very happy to see that GGN takes this serious as well. And that's why we've set up a series of webinars for Africa, for the Arab states, and recently as well now in December for the SIDS. And I think we have come out of these webinars much wiser. We have a better overview of what is happening in that region and how we can best support them. And we followed this exercise with what we have come to call now the UNESCO GGN grant for UNESCO Global Geoparks. And basically that grant, it's a package of services. It's a tailor-made package of services. It's really tailor-made to the specific sites in order to support them best with the establishment of a geopark. And I'm very happy to announce here that we're supporting now an initiative in South Tunisia in the Dahar region. There's another one in Madagascar around Isalo Nature Park, the third one in Baringo County in Kenya, and a fourth one in Eswatini, where almost the entire country is engaged in this project. And I really hope that we can soon see geoparks in that area as well. I also hope that this year we can organize the first ever African International UNESCO Global Geoparks Conference, hopefully still with our friends from Ngorongoro Lengai, but that's definitely very much on our radar as well. Let me mention here as well the mentorship and knowledge exchange program that we have set up in 2019 together with GGN. And I would like to thank here the 8 geoparks that opened their doors, but basically they opened their doors for young geopark managers, starting geopark managers to host them and basically to coach them in order to prepare their application files. And I hope that we can pick up this initiative after the pandemic again. In addition to that, we continue, of course, with our more traditional trainings, and we're very happy with the several trainings and workshops, also physical training and workshops that we have set up in Uzbekistan and Kyrgyzstan recently, with the help, amongst others, from our friends from Yangangtao in Russia, but also with help from colleagues in Turkey, in Iran. Ali Reza was, for example, one of the people that accompanied this initiative. But we had similar workshops in Latin America and the Arab states. And I think it's just it's part of our basic services that we are providing together with GGN in order to support sites. The COVID pandemic also led to a last-minute cancellation of the intensive course that is traditionally organized by the Beijing University. And I commend them here for having tried to organize it in a physical format. But of course, unfortunately, there was no other option but to postpone it. And of course, this year we had again another successful online training with Lesbos UNESCO Global Geopark, thanks to Nicholas and to his team. And towards ending my speech, I would like to move more towards the statutory obligations that UNESCO is dealing with. The member states of UNESCO have set the rules of the game. And as a secretariat of the program, I feel that we have the obligation to assist the program and all of you with providing clarity on the rules in order to provide transparency and to provide objectivity in the processes and to avoid a subjective interpretation, so that people have the same understanding no matter if you're in Japan or if you're in Jamaica. And we have therefore, together with the GGN and with the Global Geoparks Council members, we worked on a number of checklists that explain the different criteria with concrete examples, with pictures, with graphics. We developed a series of animated videos that describe in an instructive and I hope in an artistic manner as well the different criteria and steps. And we revised entirely as well the self-evaluation form, better known as this Form A, and it has just been adopted by the Council. So that will be a new standard. And I hope that it will also set the tone for the future work, because the job is never done. There remain several areas where we can still improve things, and I hope that we can tackle them together with you. At this point, I would like to thank all UNESCO Global Geoparks for their yearly contribution to the program. This is exactly what allows us to help and to support the network. In addition to using these funds for statutory support and for training and capacity building, we will also see how we can actually support better geoparks that are struggling either to attain the UNESCO label or to keep it. And I think that's an area that we need to explore much more. But it's clear that for all of the activities, for all of the programs that I have set out, we will need additional funds. And that's why we all invest part of our time in resource mobilization. In ending, I would like to thank the Jeju Province Developing Corporation, or JPDC, for being an important, a long-standing and a reliable partner to the program, to the International Geoscience and Geoparks program. Not everyone will know it, but the funding that we receive from them is only lightly earmarked, and that's truly unique and appreciated, because it allows us to support several projects and programs, raising the impact of the program to a higher level and giving it a higher visibility, a better visibility. And I think this is something that we all benefit from. They also allowed us to organize this first youth forum, and I see this really as a brainchild of the cooperation with Jeju, and I hope that we can hold it in the near future here in Jeju in presence in a physical meeting. The overall support and guidance that we are receiving from Jeju is absolutely key for our division, and I think I'm speaking on behalf of the entire division here, the Ecological and Earth Sciences, because Jeju Island also seconded a colleague to our division here in Paris to the Division of Ecological and Earth Sciences, and I'm talking here about King Youngbo, who is playing a very important role in making sure that we can live up to the expectations. And the Category 2 Center that you are working on in Jeju, and a Category 2 Center is a center that acts under the auspices of UNESCO. Jeju established this in order to support UNESCO designated sites, geoparks, biosphere reserves, and World Heritage sites, and to provide it with training and with guidance. And that's very much appreciated, and we're looking at its establishment and its evolution with a lot of attention. Let me close by wishing you all very exciting, interesting discussions and presentations, and a happy end of the year season, and above all, stay healthy and take care. Thank you very much.
Thank you once again, Mr. Vandenberge, for the comprehensive UNESCO perspective on the challenges over the past few years, as well as the future directions. And of course, thank you for being quite swift in responding to the technical challenge. And now our second keynote speaker will be Mr. Nicholas Zouros, the president of the Global Geoparks Network. And once again, I would like to invite him on the Zoom screen. Professor Zouros, can you hear me?
Yes, please.
Yes, we can hear you very well. Now you may have the floor for the second keynote presentation.
Thank you so much. It's a great pleasure once again to greet in the name of the Global Geoparks Network all the participants of the 9th International Conference on UNESCO Global Geoparks, which is digitally taking place in Jeju Island in the Republic of Korea. Well, I would like to thank the organizers for giving me the opportunity to speak on the Global Geoparks Network in a presentation which is totally complementary to the one of our colleague Christophe Vandenberge, the Chief of Earth Sciences and Risk Reduction Section of UNESCO, regarding the operation, the activities, the challenges and opportunities, especially in the world after the pandemic. We all know that Geoparks started in 2004, always under the auspices of UNESCO in the frame of the International Geoscience Program, when the Global Geoparks Network was born in Beijing, in China, during the first UNESCO International Conference of Geoparks. And the reality is a great opportunity that we have this conference still running every time with more participants and with more countries in this. A milestone, without any doubt, was the decision of the 38th General Conference of UNESCO in November 2015 for the establishment of the UNESCO Global Geoparks. And since that time, as already Christophe mentioned, the Global Geoparks Network became the statutory partner of UNESCO for this program. Nowadays, as you know, we have 169 UNESCO Global Geoparks in 44 countries. And very soon we are going to have 177 in 46 countries, as just announced by Christophe, after the next meeting of the Executive Board of UNESCO next April. Well, the distribution of geoparks around the world is not what we expect. We do know that we have big gaps of geoparks now, big gaps in areas around the world without geoparks. And this is a duty for all of us to create a real global network to cover these gaps, to expand this philosophy of geoparks all around the globe, from North and Latin America to Africa, to Australia and Oceania. And of course, to other areas having less geoparks like the Central Asia. We do know that we have a lot of geoparks in Europe and in Asia, but this is not enough. Because this innovative concept for the protection and management of our heritage as a new tool for sustainable local development is successful. We need to spread it around the globe in order to help local communities to find a better future. And what's the real meaning of the existing of UNESCO Global Geoparks and the cooperation with the Global Geoparks Network? UNESCO Global Geoparks is the quality control mechanism using the Council, which was already mentioned, and is doing a tremendous work for the evaluation of the files, of the application files and revalidation files. And the Global Geoparks Network is the operation mechanism for networking and common activities between the geoparks, is using working groups, common tools and common events to promote geoparks worldwide and help geoparks to be established as global quality attractions, which will help local communities to find their sustainable way of development. The Global Geoparks Network is managed by the General Assembly, which we are going to have just tomorrow. It is the legislative body of GGN, and of course the executive board. And I would like to thank all the members, the 13 members of the executive board, including also Christoph van den Berger from UNESCO and Professor Shichuya Nakada, the chair of the advisory committee of the GGN, having in all these years a lot of meetings, and especially during the period of COVID-19, to hold the big duty of keeping the networking alive, keeping this network alive for all of us. And I would like, you will permit me, to thank one by one Professor Xin Shaoxi from China, the vice president of the GGN, Professor Ibrahim Komo, the vice president from Malaysia, our general secretary, Dr. Guy Martini, our treasurer, Dr. Christine Ragnes, and of course the members of the executive board, Melanie Border from United Kingdom, Maurizio Burlando from Italy, Marie-Louise Frey from Germany, Patricio Mello, Professor Patricio Mello from Brazil, Driss Akbal from Morocco, John Calder from Canada, Mahito Watanabe from Japan, and last but not least, Professor Jianping Zhang from China. All these individuals contributed to the keeping this network alive all this period of COVID pandemic. Geopark networking play a very strong role in the creation, development, and success of the global geoparks, and we are sure that this networking will help even more for development of the geoparks in the near future. During the COVID pandemic, there have been many efforts to keep the network alive through digital meetings and events. GGN tried to find new ways to work, connect, and network to establish new geopark initiatives to build resilience and support local people and promote geoparks as new destination of the 21st century and prepare the future. Since the spreading of the pandemic, the GGN Executive Board had meetings every 15 days, even every week sometimes, and organized GGN digital forums. But I want to emphasize that we gave special efforts to our regional networks the European Geoparks Network, the Asian and Pacific Geoparks Network, the Latin American and Caribbean Geoparks Network, and help their own activities to support networking between geoparks. We also launched new initiatives. The Global Geoparks Network is supporting and promoting UNESCO Global Geoparks as territories of resilience. As Christophe mentioned, we launched the new UNESCO NGGN grant for Africa and Arab states and for the SEEDS. And we worked for the strategy of the world after. What geoparks should do in the world after to meet the challenges of the period after the COVID pandemic. And that's how we spread a campaign to support UNESCO Global Geoparks as territories of resilience. We also launched the first film festival of Global Geoparks, which is also taking place during our conference in Jeju, where all geoparks were invited, but also aspiring geoparks to share the beauty of their territories through videos and have a contest. And the results of this contest will be announced at the end of this conference. We also launched a new website, visitgeoparks.org, a new effort for communication with all the people around the globe. We want to show geoparks that, we want to show the people. The next initiative is the Geoparks Youth Forum, a new initiative for young people. It was already mentioned that this is the preparatory meeting of the Geoparks Youth Forum. And of course, we organized a variety of GGN digital events to facilitate the communication among different geoparks. And of course, as I said, the regional digital forum was also very important for all of us. That's how we have been in the international conference in 2021, the Digital 9th International Conference in Jeju. And before that, in the period that passed, we had the regional geopark conferences like the 6th Asian Pacific Geoparks Conference in Rinjani, Lombok, and in Spain, in Seville, we had in September 2019, the European Geoparks Conference. GGN is trying to facilitate the celebration of the international days, the Earth Day, the International Museum Day, the World Environmental Day, the Day for the World Indigenous People, the World Cleanup Day, the International Day of Tourism, and from this year in 2022, we are going to have the International Geodiversity Day on the 6th of October. We also celebrate the International Day for Disaster Reduction and the International Mountain Day. A variety of campaigns have been launched by the Global Geoparks Network to help celebrating all these international days. You see some of our posters for the Mountain Day and celebration of different people, of different events, for example, here in Morocco and in China last year. We celebrate the International Tourism Day, especially this year, with the theme of the International Tourism Day, which was tourism for sustainable growth, because we do believe that geoparks are the excellent territories for sustainable tourism, where people can enjoy the heritage and use this heritage to support local economic development. Last but not least is the campaign of UNESCO Global Geoparks for the world after. Why we support sustainable tourism? Because we do know that COVID-19 pandemic stopped tourism all around the globe. For us, sustainable tourism is the tool to regenerate our communities, to restart the local economy, especially in rural areas. And geoparks are the perfect places to do that. The beauty of the geoparks, the natural beauty, the heritage, the geological heritage, the ecological heritage, the cultural heritage, seen in an holistic approach, can be the attraction that will bring to our territories more people and help us to support these communities. We don't stop on that. We do campaign in social media. Every day, a different geopark is promoted through the GGN page in Facebook. We promote also GGN initiatives and campaigns all around the globe. And we had just for 15 days in the beginning of November to reach 669,000 people just to advertise the submission of abstracts in the Jeju conference. We also do a lot of capacity building activities. This is the training course of Beijing. This was the last course in Lesbos, also made digitally. And I would like to announce that the next conference in 2022 will be also digital, focusing on sustainable tourism next June in Lesbos. We also organize a lot of international press conferences, participate in tourist fairs. You see some pictures from Fitur, from Hong Kong Trade, from ITB. We participate in big events like Expo Beijing in 2019 with a lot of participation of all the Chinese, the 41 Chinese UNESCO Global Geoparks. We facilitate communication through the news feed, through the posters, the magazines, and I would like to invite you to see the new online magazine of the GGN, which promotes our activities in the GGN website. And of course, we are proud for the GGN newsletter published by the Beijing office and our colleagues in China, with a lot of activities all around the globe. The new challenges. Geoparks face a variety of new challenges. We have an action plan for climate change, and we have posted also a paper for discussion. We are going to have during our General Assembly the discussion about our strategy for the near future, raising awareness and making information about climate change more widely available and support of communities to adapt to climate change is one of the actions that geoparks are doing. Effective site management based on scientific research, geoconservation always in action by not theoretically, but hands-on activities to protect and preserve our geological treasures. Energy efficiency in geoparks buildings and infrastructures, in museums, info centers, promote clean and renewable energy. Water resources management, marine environment management is also important, as we have raising seas everywhere. Waste management and recycling, greening transportation, use electric vehicles in parks, create electric vehicle charging station, and promote this kind of use. Geoparks are working for sustainable economic development, which is in the core of UNESCO Global Geopark concept, and probably these are the best territories in the world to demonstrate clearly how it is important to establish and mature sustainable development strategies. So with these words, I would like to thank you for giving me the opportunity to present the activities of GGN. Sorry for the technical problems, and I wish you the best for the next days of this conference. Thank you so much from my heart to all the colleagues in Jeju, for all the colleagues around the globe in UNESCO, all of you for keeping the Geoparks flag high. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you to President Zouros for a great presentation. And despite the technical glitches, we had an informative presentation thanks to you. So thank you very much. And now, on behalf of the Jeju UNESCO Global Geopark, Dr. Jeon Yong-moon will deliver the last presentation. In fact, Dr. Jeon is truly one of the most great contributors to the successful management of the Jeju UNESCO Global Geopark after being recertified. And he will be delivering a lecture on the Jeju Geopark, which has been mentioned as an exemplary case multiple times. And so, please welcome him on stage.
예, 안녕하십니까.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Today, I would like to welcome the stakeholders, distinguished guests for Geoparks from home and abroad. It's a great honor for me to be here, and I'll talk about the past, present, and future of Geoparks in Jeju. The first picture that I would like to show you is how Seongsan Ilchulbong looked like in 2008. The entrance is quite congested with a big crowd. And let us talk about why Jeju became interested in starting geoparks. Well, as the number of people, especially tourists, increased, that does not mean the residents are happier or better off. In other words, the number of the residents were just the background in the tourist pictures. Therefore, we realized that residents should take more initiative, should have stronger ownership in tourism, and that's how we began to identify Geoparks project. And Jeju has a lot of attractions around the island, and of course there were a lot of geological features that were valuable in terms of history and nature as well. And geo in Geopark stands not just for the geological feature, but everything on the land. So we thought that Geoparks was most appropriate for working with residents. And through Geopark projects, we looked for ideas to share the proceeds of tourism with the local residents. And in 2008, we started Geopark projects, and we invited various experts from around the world to talk about how we can launch the Geopark projects most effectively. And Jeju was listed as UNESCO World Natural Heritage in 2007. And just 2 years, we received on-site audit in 2010 and passed the audit. In 2010, we did not have any concept for geoparks in Korea. And 3 years later, in 2013, Jeju hosted Asia-Pacific Geopark Network, and from 25 countries, about 560 people participated. And as you can see in these pictures, we had a very large number of people participating in this conference, and you can clearly see familiar faces in those pictures. I hope they're all safe and healthy now. And I hope to see them in person in the near future. And in 2014 and 18, we have successfully received recertification. And in 2018, this was a very important year for us. And in order to be a host for the next GGN International Conference, we visited Italy, and we were selected as the next host nation for the International Conference on UNESCO Global Geoparks in 2020. And at that time, we could not foresee anything that could happen that would stop the international conference being held in Jeju. But as we have all witnessed, early last year, the pandemic broke out, and we began to lose hopes of hosting the international conference. But In 3 years and 3 months, we are gathered here in the digital space. So I'm grateful and saddened at the same time. Let us talk about geoparks in Jeju. The entire island is geoparks, and we have 13 major attractions. And let me introduce them to you. At the center of Jeju Island, there is this hydrovolcanic mountain, which is the highest in South Korea, Halla Mountain, and it has a lot of animal and plant vegetation. And the next is Sunsan, Sunrise Peak, which is also a hydrovolcanic mountain that was formed 5,000 years ago, and it's shaped like a royal crown. And this is one of the most popular tourist attraction in Korea. And this is a very long lava cave named Manjang Lava Tube. It's 7.4 kilometers long, and you can see the internal structure of lava. And next is Sagyopo Formation, which is a stratum that has a lot of fossils of marine life. It gives the idea of what kind of marine life lived in those days, and shows us how the volcanic eruption took place. And this is Cheonjiyeon waterfall, which is 22 meters high. It looks grand, spectacular, and a lot of animal and plant grow wildly here, and it's designated as natural monument. And this is Jusang, columnar joint in Jungmun called Jusang Jeollidae. It's right next to the Congress venue here. And this is really beautiful. And this is Sambangsan, which is a lava dome. And highly viscous lava could not flow far, and it has melted into a bulge. And you can see a cave in the middle, and people visit here to make their wishes. And this is called Yongmori Coast, which is shaped like a dragon's head. It's a tough ring. And this is the result of 3 eruptions of hydrovolcanic eruptions that took place 1 million years ago. And it's the longest volcanic edifice in Jeju Island. And another is Suwalbong Peak, which is also a tough ring. And it shows how the craters have changed in terms of stratum based on the volcanic. It's well described in Encyclopedia of Volcanoes. And there are 2 more islands that I would like to introduce you to. It's Udo, which is a hydrovolcanic and cinder cone island. Another island called Piyang Islet. It's composed of scoria cone, and it has 8-meter long lava flow structure called Hornito structure. It's looking very grand. And another forest, which is Seonhul Guljawal. It's a Seonhul forest. It's also designated as a Ramsar wetland. It's well known for its Camellia Hill. Last but not least, this is Samdasu village, which is also designated as a geological attraction. And the residents of the village have volunteered to get this attraction designated. And this village also has stone park, pit crater, and wood trail in the village. And I have introduced you to 13 attractions, geological attractions on Jeju Island, and most of them are designated as UNESCO Global World Heritage Sites and National Cultural Treasures, and they are strictly and strongly protected. And let me introduce you to the organization that I belong to. Jeju, the World Treasure Headquarters, is an organization that belongs to the Jeju local government, and our department is also made up of 3 teams that manages the World Treasures, Global Geopark, and Biospheres. And since the entire island is geoparks, we have many tourism infrastructures, and we have information centers all over the place. And this is the information center in Manjang cave and Seongsan Ilchulbong. And also there are tourist information centers, and geological commentators are there all the time offering you free travel guide. And these are signages, and signages have common design and standards. And another important thing is how we are going to strictly protect and manage these heritage sites. Every month we visit the sites on foot, record any changes. Sometimes we fly drones to take the pictures, and we have automatic monitoring system that has digital management operation. Sometimes we climb the cliff to record rock slides, and we do that every month. Sometimes we go into caves to record any changes. And such monitoring results are reported in monitoring reports every year. And we publish a lot of information leaflets for various target groups and various areas. And we also carry out academic research for geological trail course. And various experts and researchers are coming to Jeju, and the results of their research are published as articles. And last year, thanks to such achievement, Korea Geological Association has given us a very important award in September last year. And let me talk about how we train the experts or commentators for geoparks. We have Geo School program, and since 2008, we have been educating elementary school students located close to the geoparks. We go out on field trip with these students, and then we show them what the rocks look like, what the sands look like. So this is not a classroom education. This is on-site education on outdoor field trips. And we have been doing this every year, 10 times every year. In spite of the pandemic, we are continuing this elementary school education, and we have 41 geopark commentators working with us. They have been with us for a long time. Sometimes we visit other geoparks from home and abroad to learn. This is one of my favorite pictures. Commentators are so enthusiastic about learning. And we have visited numerous geoparks in Korea. And we have learned from other sites as well. And in spite of the pandemic this year, we have also went on field trips with the commentators. And let me introduce a program that we carry out with the residents. It's called Geopark Trails. And the trails are built around the geopark so that many people can visit and actually visit the geoparks. And we worked with a fishing village in 2011, and 2012, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. We worked with this fishing village for almost 10 years, and through these trail events, the local residents love this program, and about 300,000, 400,000 tourists visit this fishing village every year, thanks to this trail event. So also this year in November, which was the last month, we had the trail events. We have such geo-trail events in various geoparks around the Jeju Island. Next, let me talk about some of our brand marketing activities using Geopark as a brand. We have signed partnership with geoparks around the island, and we use their brand and promote the village and the geoparks. And these are the stores, restaurants, accommodation facilities, various activity providers. They sell souvenirs or provide services, and they are all our partners. Over the past 10 years, Geoparks in Jeju Island has achieved a lot, and I have shown you some of our achievements, what we have done with geoparks. But I think the most important thing about geoparks is not the geopark itself, but the people, the residents of Jeju, how proud they are of the value of the land they are living in, taking ownership, explaining and describing their village to the tourists. And I believe that Geoparks started to make the local residents the owners of their village and owners of tourism projects that's going on in their neighborhood. So the commentators have given us an interview. I was born and raised in Jeju. I did not know Jeju Island in true nature. And I've learned a lot by participating in project, how Jeju was created from the start and what kind of value it offers to Korea and to the world. It was a great opportunity. I love my village and I love the fisheries and the seafood that we produce. I have been confident and proud of my village, and it's a great pleasure to share that with the visitors. Even the small grain of sand, drop of seawater, it's so valuable, and I realized how precious our village is. I have just looked at the landscape so far, but I can look at the fossils, the rocks on the beach. I can hear and see their stories. In the past, geological park sounded too complicated and scientific, but now I want to know more about it. I love geoparks. By working as a commentator for geoparks, I realized and learned more about Kosan. I realized that it's such a precious and valuable corner of this world. It's a textbook for volcanic eruption. And the fossils, it's amazing. To our children and future generations, we want to pass on this beautiful island through educating them. And I will think about better ways to share the beauty and value of our village with people who are coming to geoparks from all over the world. The commentators of Jeju's geoparks, they're the true owners and organizers of geoparks on Jeju. I would like to thank the organizing committee and the commentators of geoparks and the staff members of the organizing committee. I would like to really offer my greatest gratitude. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you once again, Dr. Chun, for that great presentation, also showcasing the various different examples of what you're doing as activities in Jeju Island. It truly is thanks to all of the hard work and devotion and the passion of the geopark interpreters or commentators that the UNESCO Jeju geoparks are so smoothly operated. And now, ladies and gentlemen, this brings us to the end of the opening ceremony. In about a couple of minutes, we will also have 5 parallel sessions being held under various different topics. So for details, please refer to the official website, and we ask for your continued interest and participation over the course of the next few days. So with that, I will say goodbye for myself here. This has been Ju Yeon Cho. It was truly an honor to be your MC. Thank you very much.